Hi everybody, my name is Greg Anderson and this is the Good Timekeeping Show with Greg Anderson. So far I have a perfect attendance record on this show. So today I was doing my regular errands and I stopped at Walmart on the way home to pick up some bananas and chocolate milk, which is not a smoothie recipe. I usually eat them separately. But anyway, I noticed in the store there was a counter with a sign above it that said fine jewelry. And I said, I gotta check out the fine jewelry at Walmart. And so in the clearance cabinet, there was this watch, okay, for a substantial discount. And I saw it and I thought, oh, you know, I'll bet my YouTube viewers would love to have me review the watch. So I thought, well, let me go home and get my video gear. And then I thought, no, wait a second. That's not how it works. When I do a review, I buy the watch and I take it home and I make the review. So that's what I did, and I'm going to share this watch with you. This is a Casio diver's watch, and you may find that it's a fun watch to talk about. So here it is. It's the model MTD1079-1AVTN. with the module 5373 in there. As you can see, the suggested retail was supposed to be $79.92, but if you shop around for this and similar models online, you're going to find that you'll almost never have to pay that much for this. Now, I got a special deal on clearance. Look at that there. Oh boy, yeah, I got pretty lucky on this one. There are, as with all of these, well, almost every Casio watch I have, there are some different color variations available. This one has the resin watch band. Others have kind of a metal watch bracelet, and so this one has kind of the the rose gold accents on the hands and around the bezel there. And well, this is annoying. Let me peel that off. Oh, now that looks so much nicer and cleaner. But let me just tell you that there's a version of this with a metal watch bracelet, and I've seen it at an eBay store called the Casio store. So I think that's an official Casio store on the eBay website for the United States, and that was $60. And then there's one with just a little bit different color scheme and also a metal band there for $65. So MTD1079 is the basic model number. After that, the other letters and numbers after that will indicate some of the variations. And this one, it just happens to be rose gold highlights there with that resin watch band. Now, of course, this is a diver's watch design, sort of the throwback to that original Rolex Submariner watch from the 1950s. And all the diver's watches seem to pick up on that basic style. This one also, of course, has the day of the week and the day of the month there on the dial at the 3 o'clock position. And I show it here next to this one. This one on the right is a watch that I had literally 45 years ago and wore this to grade school. You'll notice the fashionable 1970s style leather strap for a watch band that I had added to that. So this is a mechanical watch that I wore as a kid. Had to wind it every day or at least every other day to keep it going. At the moment, it doesn't really work. I can make the second hand go, but the rest of it, these hands will not move on their own. So I suppose I could have it serviced and try and make that work again. But right now, I don't really need to do that. This watch still holds a place in my museum of good timekeeping, so I don't really need to do anything with this one. But this being the brand new Casio, you can see it's bigger, and and of course it's working, and it still maintains that day of the week and all this other fun stuff. So you'll find that a lot of companies sell a diver's watch style watch. Sometimes this bezel here is just for decoration, but for the best ones, you want a bezel that actually turns. And this one turns, it kind of clicks in place, 2 clicks per minute. So there'll be 120 positions around the dial if you were to rotate this all the way around. If you are a diver, you may appreciate how this works. Basically, what you do is you take this marker here that I've got at the 12 o'clock position now, and you line that up with your minute hand, see, and then As the minute hand moves around, you can then see how many minutes have elapsed since you set that. So if you're a diver, that's very important. You can keep track of your air supply and also decompression requirements and all that sort of thing. So that's why people, for a true diver's watch, prefer one where the bezel actually turns. This only turns in one direction, counterclockwise. It just resists if I try to turn it clockwise, but it does turn. It's a little bit stiff. I kind of like the way it clicks there to turn that if I'm turning it, again, just counterclockwise. All right, so not all of these watches will have the day of the week and the date right there on the dial, but I like this one just because it's a throwback to that watch I had as a kid. Other than that, it's pretty straightforward and pretty easy to set as well. So again, if you're used to these watches, you just pull the crown out. And if I pull this out, there's actually two positions. So if I pull it out all the way, then I can just, turn this and advance the time. When you first set it up, you want to know whether it's showing AM or PM. And the way that you know that is when you pass the 12 o'clock mark, did these change? And so it didn't change just then. So this must be showing, now it's about 10 o'clock p.m. If I keep going, you'll see that starting around 11 o'clock, the date starts to advance there. And it usually finishes that right there before midnight. So that's actually showing, the next day as far as the date. But the day of the week, now that's got to advance. And this has the option of showing you English or Spanish abbreviations for the day of the week. So right now it's still on Wednesday. That's Spanish for miércoles. And then as I get here just after 3 o'clock, then it actually advances to, now it's showing Thursday the 10th. So now I know this is in AM. Now it used to be if you wanted to, with watches like this, if you wanted to advance the date then and the day of the week, you'd kind of have to turn it past midnight and then go back and then go forward again. And, in this case, that will take you to, and now it's going to show Friday. But there's an easier way to do it with this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and set this to the proper time right now. And so the proper time right now is about 2:50 p.m. So I advance past the 12 o'clock, and you see that since the day of the week and the date did not advance, then I know this is now showing p.m., so about 2:50 right there. You'll notice that the second hand stopped while I was making this adjustment. So now if I push the crown all the way back in, now it's just going to run normally, okay? So that's an easy way to set it. But hey, hang on. What I really want to do, however, is set these correctly. So right now you can't see it very well. I'm going to advance it an hour just so you can actually see both of those little windows there at the 3 o'clock position. So, I told you that there are two positions on this crown. So if I pull it out all the way, then that's where I was advancing the hands. But if I pull it out just one click, which is just like that, just subtle, now, according to the instructions, if I rotate it away from me, so kind of like if I'm rotating along the top here, or this would actually be, clockwise. So if I rotate this clockwise, then that's just going to advance the day of the week. And, you can then choose whether it's going to be Spanish or English. So I'm going to set this to Thursday right there. And then if I rotate it the other way, so if I'm, up here rotating it towards me or counterclockwise or anti-clockwise, then that advances just the date there without affecting the day of the week. So you'll have to do this, by default, every month is going to have 31 days on this. So if it's the end of a month that only has 30 days or February that has less than 30 days, then when you advance to the next day, you'll want to manually just go in and rotate that ahead to the first of the month again. So you don't have to do that every month, but about half the time during the year, you'll have to make a little adjustment when you reach a new month. Today just happens to be the 11th. So if I turn this, advance it to 11, now I'm set. I can push that in and there I go. I've set the time. And this will be accurate to within 20 seconds a month, according to the manufacturer. So this is a battery-powered clock. Now a lot of the divers' watches, especially Rolex, will be mechanical movements, and a lot of them have automatic winding. So there's actually some sort of mechanism in there, and as you move your wrist around, that kind of turns a little weight that will wind the watch up and give it that energy to use over the next couple of days. In this case, it's not mechanical, so just a quartz movement with battery inside. In fact, this has two batteries inside, one to run the clock part of it, and the other for this button up here. This is an Illuminator, and I'll show you that in a moment with the lights out. So it actually uses two batteries, and when it's time to change the batteries, they recommend that you change both of them. Now, they should run about 3 years between battery changes. I'm told, and I've just done a little quick research online, it's a little tricky to change the batteries in this, because as you open it up, you're going to first see the module that is just the illumination part, and you have to release that and take that out in order to reach the battery that runs the actual clock movement. So yeah, that could be tricky. I'm not going to do it right now because, I'll wait until I need to do it, and then maybe I'll make another video about that. But just keep that in mind. It's a little trickier than battery replacement on your average Casio watch, at least the ones that I've had. Now, let me just show you quickly. Now, this is metal, and it feels like it's got some heft to it. It feels like a nice, solidly built watch. So the case here is metal. Everything on here feels very much like metal. And, the only thing that feels at all plasticky would be just, the watch band itself. And I have to tell you, this watch band feels a little bit softer than your average Casio resin watch band. This one, like here, feels a little more stiff than this one here. Just has a nice soft feel to it. It's not quite as soft as the watch band on this guy. This is kind of, the more premium G-Shock Square from Japan. So this is a little bit softer, but this one is not bad at all. So I could very easily get in here and use a spring bar tool to take this spring bar out and replace this with some other watch band. But for now, I'm very satisfied with this watch band. And maybe someday I'll go with metal or something. But you'll see that the back of the watch has a screw-on back. So when the time comes for me to open it up, if I'm going to try to change those batteries myself, I'll have to get my proper tools to open up the screw-on back. But it's not impossible to do. It's just something I'm not used to doing very much. But it's a good-looking watch, and seems to be really solid. You can see here on the face that it says Illuminator, and it also says water resist 100 meters, so not bad at all. It does not have a screw down crown to enhance the water resistance there, so just pushing it in like that, I guess, is enough to give you that 100 meter water resistance, so not bad. This button here, this function, they call it Super Illuminator LED. I love having a Super Illuminator watch. Super! But then maybe you're wondering, well, what does the Super Illuminator even do? And I'll show you. It does this. Ooh, that's a really nice light. Oh, actually what it has, it's got a little LED up there at the 12 o'clock position and another one down there at the 6 o'clock position. And as you can see, they kind of light up the entire dial in a really nice way. I mean, you can see that. That's one of the best backlights I've had on any of my Casio analog watches. So I'm really impressed. Also, of course, there's some glow-in-the-dark material there on the face too. So let's just kind of charge that up and see how that looks. Not bad, as is my experience with a lot of these watches. When you charge it up with one of these UV lights, oh, it looks nice and bright right away, and then after just a few seconds, you already start to see that fade away. But not bad at all. And actually, for me, I don't even need to rely on that glow-in-the-dark material because that backlight is so good just as is. Of course, as usual, they warn that if you use the backlight too often, the battery will drain faster, so just keep that in mind. But, I'll probably settle down after a few weeks and not use it quite as often. Now, if you know me and you've seen some of my videos online already, you know that I usually prefer to have a watch that sets itself automatically with features like multi-band 6 for atomic timekeeping. And I also usually get spoiled because I prefer a watch that has a tough solar, or that, it charges its own battery using regular available light. This, of course, doesn't have those features, but boy, it's just such a beautiful watch and just so well built and so nice, and the price was definitely right. So that's why I decided, well, I'm going to add this to my collection, of course. But then you may be wondering, well, how am I going to synchronize this watch? Because I usually like to keep them synchronized. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait till the second hand reaches the 12 o'clock position, or, well, as close as I can to the 12 o'clock position, and then pull the crown all the way out. And now I've stopped the second hand, so now I can work the other hands back to what would be the correct time. And let's see, for this, it's going to be 3:06. I'm going to synchronize this with a known a known source of the correct time. So the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to let it sit here just like this. And the moment this watch reaches 3:06 and 1 second, I'm going to just pop this crown back in all the way, and then it should start running. So again, I'm accurate to within 20 seconds a month according to Casio. So once I do this, I can wait a month and see how well we did. Okay, almost time. Here we go, and pop. Okay, well, close enough. Okay, that's pretty close. All right, so synchronized for now, and I'll see how that works moving forward. Now, while I'm still here at the table, let's just do a little weigh-in. Here's a kind of one of the smaller G-Shock watches. It weighs, 55 grams, whereas this guy here weighs 92 grams. However, compare that to something like this is a little bit larger G-Shock watch. Okay, 67. Okay, here's that really fancy one from Japan. It's a little heavier. 76. Okay, here's a Bluetooth G-Shock. 81. Okay, now here's a nice Wave Scepter watch, also from Japan. Okay, 90. 89. Okay, and here's similar one with a titanium bracelet, only 63. So, even though this one kind of has a heft to it, and it just feels more substantial for some reason, all the weight is concentrated right here in the case itself. And that's why, even though it doesn't weigh that much more overall than the others, it just feels hefty because, the watch band is practically, nothing, and all the weight is right there. And it just kind of feels solid, and I actually like that. So there you go. Now I should mention one other thing. Now the instructions from Casio say that when you set the watch, you should set it a little bit forward of where you want it to be by about 4 or 5 minutes, and then set it back to the correct time before you push that crown in. So I don't know exactly how that makes it run better, but that is the manufacturer's advice on how to set the time on this particular watch. So anyway, I will warn you that just because I got a great deal at Walmart on this, it doesn't mean that, well, in my experience, Walmart may have different prices for different clearance items at different stores, and some items that might be on clearance at one store won't be on clearance in another store. So good luck, but I would say before you blow past the banana stand and head home, if you're going to Walmart, you might want to just check out every now and then and see what's on clearance or see what the deals are. Every now and then you might find a little treasure and not have to pay too much money for it, like I did today. Okay, well, that's all for now. I got more stuff coming up, some more ideas, and all I need to do is take the time and make those videos, and I hope you will watch them on another upcoming episode of the Good Timekeeping Show.